In the next few weeks, we're taking the TCEN Global, the Christian Entrepreneur Network, which we have launched, and we're taking off, and we're seeking to really make it go and grow. And so there's a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of expenses that are before me, and a lot of difficulty that I'm really going through some tough times right now. And we're going to be up in the upper Midwest in just a week and a half, and perhaps I'll get a chance to see some of you as you make your way. But things are really stressing me in many ways right now. And so this came to me today. Do not resist or run from the difficulties in your life. These problems are not random mistakes. They are hand-tailored blessings designed for your benefit and growth. Embrace all the circumstances that I allow in your life, trusting me to bring good out of them. View problems as opportunities to rely more fully on me. When you start to feel stressed, let those feelings alert you to your need for me. Thus your needs become doorways to deep dependence on me and increasing intimacy between us. Although self-sufficiency is a claim by the world, reliance on me produces abundant living in my kingdom. Thank me for the difficulties in your life, since they provide protection from the idolatry of self-reliance. Wow! But you know what? If you really believe that, that means you have to really embrace spiritual principal spiritual 2 in the Christian Entrepreneur Network. And so today we're going to take a brief look at what principle 2 is all about, as we even think about the fact, what do you say when you bury your mom? Best and blessings. Join me. Radio on the Edge. We're ready to go right now. Well, how are you on this Thursday, bringing the weekend to an end? Well, I've got a lot to do. I'm very stressed out in many ways, hopefully not in the ways that hurt anybody. But next week I'm going to be gone for about 10 days, and I'll be actually doing the radio on the road as I travel from Arizona up to the upper Midwest, as we're seeking to launch and promote the Christian Entrepreneur Network. We're seeking people who will partner with us, who will help us out and be a player and a contributor. This is a way for you not only to be connected with others, but it's a way for you to make your mark. As we say, if you want to make your mark, you have to grow friends and make friends, and you actually have to grow your influence. And ways that your ideas, the things that you can do and demonstrate, you need to figure out ways to get the message out there. And we believe that as Christian entrepreneurs, we first of all have the advantage of all of that good research and work that the world is doing. But more than that, we have spiritual insights and power that are vital and necessary to make it in the world today. And part of what we do here is a little 10 to 12 to 20 minutes of teaching and learning and new ideas. Hey, if you can take 10 to 12 to 20 minutes every day to read, listen, or think about something new that's helpful and useful for you and your business, just 20 minutes every day, or even 5 days a week at least, maybe 6, think how much further ahead you will be. So that's what we're trying to help you do. We're trying to get that 20 minutes while you're listening with a little bit of energy and enthusiasm. Stan Houston is my name. I'm the founder of the Christian Entrepreneur Network, TCEN Global, and our web stage will be coming up very shortly. Isaac in India is working on that right now. Again, our team is literally all over the world. And so I've been thinking a lot about all the things that I have to do to get ready. And I woke up, unfortunately, around 3:30, 4 o'clock. I was done sleeping. I had stayed up a little bit later to watch when the guys came back from being imprisoned in North Korea, and President Donald Trump, the USA, and a number of people welcomed them back to their home around 2 a.m. in the morning. And so I took a little time to look at that, tried to get back to sleep, didn't work too well, and pressing on for the day. But after that, just as I was thinking about all the things that were before me, I took out my phone and went to the app called Jesus Calling. And oh my goodness, here it was, 10th of May. Do not resist or run from the difficulties in your life. These problems are not random mistakes. They are hand-tailored blessings designed for your benefit and growth. Embrace all the circumstances that I allow in your life, trusting me to bring good out of them. View problems as opportunities to rely more fully on me. When you start to feel stressed, let those feelings alert you to your need for me. Thus your needs become doorways to deep dependence on me and increasing intimacy between us. Although self-sufficiency is acclaimed in the world, reliance on me produces abundant living in my kingdom. That's, by the way, why we call our book Fully Alive. Fully Alive. Thank me for the difficulties in your life, since they provide protection from the idolatry of self-reliance. The idolatry of self-reliance. Thank you, Sarah Young, for reminding me what is truly important in the Jesus Comes Calling every day. And he wants to know if I'm listening, if I'm paying attention, am I depending on him? And that truly is a different way to look at things. Not only was that good for me, but I knew that today I was going to talk about principle number 2. The reason that I read that Jesus Calling twice. It's good to hear it again. When something is important, you hear it again. So, I read Jesus Calling twice, 2 times, which will introduce us to some thoughts about principle number 2. Now, our book called Fully Alive is called The Prayer, and we talked about the prayer of Joshua. That's our prayer. Then there's principle 1, and that's the Bob Dylan deal. Remember, you've got to serve somebody. You've got to serve somebody. Number 1 prime directive for those of us who are entrepreneurs, and particularly for those of us who are Jesus entrepreneurs, it's not about making money, though that would be nice. It's not about having fun, though that would be nice. It's not about a lot of things that most people are encouraged to pursue. It is to, in effect, make sure that we are serving somebody that's good and right, because that's what we were made for. I remember someone pointed this out to me. This was a tough guy. He was a good guy, but he's a tough guy. And I remember he looked at a group of us and said, "That's right. You are entitled." That's right. I believe in entitlements. Well, of course, that's kind of soft stuff. We don't believe in entitlements. He says, you have one entitlement in life, and here it is. You are entitled to serve others. That's it. That's the only entitlement you have. Everything else is grace, good fortune, or mercy, but no, you are not entitled. I remember one of my friends who says that whenever somebody comes in and he's a lawyer and people say they want to sue or they want to take action, and he says, well, what do you hopefully want to get from this action? And they say, well, I just want to get what I deserve. And he says, I smile at them and say, I don't think you do, because if you got what you deserved, you might be in big trouble. Let's talk about what you want. And with a smile, some of them get it. But like he says, most don't. You are entitled to serve others. One of the fundamental things I'm going to ask you is, who have you been called to serve? And do you have the gifts and the strengths and the abilities? Are you working hard to learn how to be of greater service to others? Because that's the people. Those are the guys and gals who are the Christ-led, Jesus-following entrepreneurs, and they're the ones who will make the greatest difference. There we go. That's a summary of principle number 1 in the Jesus Entrepreneur. But now, I'd like to tell you a little bit about principle number 2. And part of it is emphasized by the fact that I always tell stories, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story of when I buried my mom. I'm going to tell you about when I buried my dear mother. That's coming up. I'm Stan Houston. This is Radio on the Edge, RadioEdge77 at gmail.com. RadioEdge77 at gmail.com is how to reach me. We'll be back with principle number 2 in just a moment. Okay, here we go. We just got a few more minutes. Remember, we keep it under 20 minutes, but this is vital. Principle number 1, you are called to serve others. Principle number 2, you are a spiritual being. May I say that again? You are a spiritual being. Not necessarily a human being, but a spiritual being. Let me just go from the book that will be coming out in just about a week. I have had the opportunity to know and to work with a number of Christian entrepreneurs in my over 25 years as a business performance coach. And I have noticed that they have a number of things in common, and part of our work together will be to discover some of those qualities that lead to true success in the marketplace. One of them is that they have an intense curiosity about things. They want to know, they want to discover, they want to know what works. And related to that is that they have a wide interest in many things. I remember a tough, incredibly confident and significant insurance salesman and business owner. And in one of our conversations about strategy for the insurance business, we happened to stray into the subject of philosophy and even theology. He got a big smile on his face and then shared some of his thinking in that area. It was truly amazing. He had more insight than most professors and pastors that I have known. You see, the Christian entrepreneur is at their best a man or a woman of universal, almost Renaissance interest. They are interested in lots of things and in lots of people. Now, does that in some way describe you? Let's continue. So it makes sense that in our principle number 2, that we go from our past discussion of Bob Dylan, a pop rock musician, to today's discussion of a world-class philosopher. From a pop musician to a world-class philosopher. You see, I, Stan Houston, have been greatly influenced by the thinking of the Christian philosopher Teilhard de Chardin. That's right. Think about it now. Chardin. Chardin. Teilhard de Chardin. He's French. One of his best-known premises is this: we are not human beings who have a spiritual experience. We are indeed spiritual beings that have a human experience. Now, please let that wisdom sit on your head and sink to your heart for a while. Unfortunately, most people do not understand that, even many Christian businessmen and women. They have a life, and they have a business or career, and they certainly include some Christian principles and practices and proverbs. What we do is kind of simply paste on a few spiritual insights to our very human experience. So principle number 2 for the Christian entrepreneur is that we are spiritual beings having a human career, business, commercial experience in the marketplace. And how do we live that out and be true to what we really are? We're not human beings who can have a spiritual experience. Ultimately, we are all spiritual beings who have a human experience. Think about that just for a while. I think that will help us to better understand where we're going. Now, some of the things that made that real important to me is that I actually, when my mother died, I was the oldest son, and it was difficult, but we did this. We actually had the committal service for Mom before the funeral. And then we went back, and the committal service was just for the family and the immediate family. And then after the committal service, we went back, and the coffin was no longer there, the casket was gone, and we went back to the church, and then we had a celebration of Mom's life, and went from there. And then a little bit of the social time afterwards. And I remember that what happened was that I came to the point where I put my hands on Mom's coffin, and I just simply said this: Mom's human experience has come to an end. Mom's human experience has come to an end. But she continues, because her spiritual experience has just begun to flower and go and grow. She continues on. She's continuing to grow, because ultimately, just because the human experience is over does not mean that the spiritual experience is also over. Indeed, it is now truly what we are meant to be. And I just simply want to remember that. I get so caught up and I get so worried. How am I going to pay that bill? What am I going to do? The website's not working. All of those things that take away our joy and our day and oftentimes just leave us ragged and burnt out from the experience of living. Because life is difficult and life is hard. Yeah, sometimes we just feel that way. But perhaps it's important to remember that we are indeed not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience in the marketplace. And I just simply ask, could that insight have some idea for you of how you might just live, work, and do business differently? Just thought I would ask. Let it sit on your head for a while. We'll be back. There we go. Principle number 1, principle number 2, and the prayer for the Christian entrepreneur. Principle number 3 will be another big one. And I think you'll like it. I think you'll enjoy it. It will challenge you to do something that I mentioned before. What were you born to build? Remember that new book came out yesterday from Gallup Organization, Born to Build. What were you born to build? Think about that. And we'll talk more about that on Friday and let it flow into the weekend as we get ready to learn more and more about the 7 principles you need to know to live well and build a business as a Christian entrepreneur. I'd love to visit with you. Once again, my name is Stan Houston. I've been doing radio and television and business performance coaching and teaching for many years, and I'd love to help you. Particularly right now, I'm helping people write books, because your book is your business card. Talkers are hawkers. Writers are experts. We're also helping people enhance their YouTube channel to demonstrate how good they are. Not just what they do, but how good they are. And perhaps we can help you. So reach out to me at radioedge77@gmail.com, radioedge77@gmail.com, 520-664-7002. You can call me up. And I'd even like to arrange where perhaps you would ask your question and our radio program would be a discussion between your question and perhaps my reflection and maybe even an answer that might work for you. Hey, all the best and blessings to you. We'll see you around. I'm Stan Houston. This is TCEN Global. This is the Jesus Entrepreneur. And as always, we wish you all the best and blessings. And bye for now.